Hello friends, I'm Steve Knudsen, Senior Pastor at First Lutheran Church. Each day I or one of my colleagues in ministry will share a reflection with you, and we'll call it Light for Today. As well, we are developing online gatherings for worship and prayer. We'll be sending information to you about that through the Spotlight and also on the homepage, so we'd ask you to check it out and keep in touch. For today, what comes to my mind is a phrase spoken by an Irish bishop of long ago, Bishop Aidan. And as he was concluding his ministry, he said this: "Now remember the small things that you have seen me say and do." The small things. We seem to be caught up in big things at the moment, and our life is being constrained. So what does it mean to remember the small things? Remember the power of compassion and kindness. Even when we are feeling anxious, it matters when we show kindness to our spouse or children. Take time to ask someone, "How are you doing?" and then to be quiet and listen. Maybe it's with someone in your family, a spouse or a child, or maybe it means to reach out by phone or text to a friend or farther family member and ask, "How are you doing?" Maybe it's simply to take time and to be present in the moment and to give thanks. When we become anxious, when we think about the future and the uncertainties, we can lose sight that God does provide for this moment, for today. So take time, stop, and reflect on how God has provided for you in this moment. That you have shelter, you have food, you have family, friends, a church community, that you have what you need for this moment. In the gospel reading for Sunday, it's a story of Jesus who heals a man born blind. In that story, the disciples and Jesus come across the man, and the disciples ask the big question, who has sinned that this man has been born blind? But Jesus moves past the speculative questions, and he moves to the small thing. That is, he stops and shows an act of kindness toward the man born blind. Remember the small things that you have seen Jesus do and say. Remember how Jesus ate with tax collectors and for those who are on the margins of life and showed compassion to them. Remember how Jesus would simply stop what he was doing and turn to the person at the side of the road and ask, "What do you need?" Remember how Jesus was patient with his disciples who so often did not understand, yet Jesus was persistent in his attention to them. And then take a look at the teachings of Jesus and look again to see how often he simply calls us to remember the small things. That is, to remember to be human and compassionate, to remember to be loving in the moment, to remember to take courage and fear not, but trust that God will be there in the moment. Remember the small things that you have seen and heard Jesus do. And perhaps that is simply the light from God that we need for this day. So grace and peace be with you on this day. Until tomorrow, have a good day.